Thank you for joining us. It's Election Watch on Galaxy TV. We sincerely apologize for that mix-up at the beginning of our broadcast. Straight away, we go to Kaduna, where Bosan Yakusak is standing by at the Kaduna North INEC Collation Center, where he's going to give us an update on happenings there. Good afternoon, Bosan.
Good afternoon, sir.
Right. Very quickly, give us an update from the INEC Collation Center in Kaduna North, where you are presently.
Yes, presently I'm at INEC Collation Center for Kaduna North. This is where the results for senatorial for the Zone 2 and then House of Reps members is going to be announced. But collation is yet to commence because of the late arrival of sensitive materials yesterday at some polling unit. So election went on smoothly, even though at some point it went on late into the night. So they are still awaiting results for most of the polling units. And the supervisory INEC official here is telling me that they are not going to commence collation of results until most of the polling units have bring their results. So I'm still here. Collation is set to commence. The place is still quiet. The town is still calm. I mean, security personnel are still seen around the town. The place is a bit serene. You know, we have not heard of any form of violence or destruction of properties for now, and then we are expecting and we're hoping that the place will continue like this, and we hope that nothing bad, no form of robbery or crisis will happen.
If on the other places you visited in between yesterday and today, and just tell us, give us an update on your observations.
Yes, sir. Actually, we observed that in Igabi local government and then in Kaduna North local government, there is a bit of voter apathy whereby there was low turnout of electorate, voters who collected permanent voters cards, and we were hoping that they would come out and exercise their franchise. Didn't turn up, you know. But then in Kaduna South and then in Chukun local government also where I visited, we saw a bit of resilience. We saw that even though election materials arrived late, you know, people still stood their ground. They voted all through the night to make
We do sincerely apologize for that poor picture. We'll bring Bosan back on once we're able to get that feed from him. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we also have Gabriel Odia from Benue and Dele Fason in Anambra standing by to give us their update. Stay with us. It's Election Watch on Galaxy TV.
5 total valid votes. 106 of 4 political parties that willingly total votes cast. Total votes cast. 1 APC. The chairman, sir. Is there any cancellation? NNPP 39. NLP 76. ZLP 76. We have centers in the council 4 polling units. It's a pleasure to present the result from Remonos.
Right.
Elected their PVC. We were supposed to come out and exercise their franchise, but we observed that there was no turnout of voters. But then in Kaduna South and in Chukun government, you know, where election materials arrived late, we saw a bit of resilience from these persons, electorate, voters. They voted all through the night. They made sure that they exercise their franchise. So what I'm saying is that even though there's a bit of voter apathy here in Kaduna North, and then in Igabi local government where I visited yesterday, in Chukun local government, and then in Kaduna South, there was a bit of resilience, you know, all through the night. people make sure that they exercise their franchise. But for now, the town is still calm. People are still indoors, because usually, if you know the history of post-election violence in Kaduna State, this is usually the time that it happens, because people who might see the result and might be thinking that they are about to lose out, you know, usually are the persons that bring all this form of thuggery, and then their supporters start bringing all sorts of reasons for disruption of properties, lives, and all of that. But for now, the town is still calm. People are indoors, you know, and then we're praying and hoping that it remains like this.
Voting ended late in some areas. Give us a feel of what happened in those areas. When did voting start and when did it end?
In some areas in Chukun local government, election materials did not arrive until about 11:30, in some places 12, in some places 12:30, in some places even 1. So they voted. In fact, I was at a polling in Kaduna, in Chukun local government, where voting continued till about 7:38. You know, people were ready to bring out their torchlight from their phones, you know, just to make sure that they participate in this national exercise. They made sure that their vote counted, and then afterwards they provided a bit of security for these INEC officials, the corpers, and all of that, to make sure that all their vote is being protected. I also visited another place where voting ended at about 7:30. So all I'm saying is that voting continued in Kaduna State in some areas till around 7, 8:30, and some places almost 9 p.m. as of yesterday.
Right, but generally speaking, across the local governments in Kaduna, how would you describe the mood and the security situation, generally speaking, after the election?
So in terms of security, people are impressed. For the first time, we are seeing a bit of civility, you know, security personnel were civic, they were friendly. You could see that even when somebody would want to bring any form of disruption or anything that will bring violence, you could see how security personnel would just come up to him, discuss with him, and give him reasons. And aside from security personnel, we could see how people, electorate, were educating themselves. They were telling themselves, no, don't do this. If you do this, our vote is not going to count. So I think if there was a bit of awareness, education from electorate, you know, to make sure that they support security personnel in making sure that election went on seamlessly.
Thank you very much, Bosan, for that update from Kaduna North. We'll get back to you much later for updates from Kaduna. Thank you. That was our correspondent, Bosan Yakusak, giving us that update from Kaduna North INEC Collation Center. We'll be right back with an update from Daily Fason. We'll be speaking to the INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner, Elizabeth Agu, from Anambra State.
So it's a privilege to invite
all of the possibility observed. I am Dr. Registration areas. Yes, other local governments. Ifeanyi 1, Ifeanyi 2, Ifeanyi 3, Ogere 1, Edition 1, Edition 2, and then Edition stroke 1, 4, 6, 7, 9, 1, 4, 2, 0, 1, 2, 6. AAC 18. AAC 18. ADP 4, 5. EGA 1, 9.
One can now. Remember that these beavers has only been tested in 3 states. I think Enugu, Ekiti, Osun, if I'm right. So this is the first time that it's been tested nationwide, where you have a presidential election and national assembly election. So this is going to really prove, it's going to really let Nigerians know if we are moving forward with the use of the beavers, or it's going to set us backward.
The CBN policy is actually a good policy. which President Muhammadu Buhari has actually endorsed. But as we can see over here, there is nothing like vote buying anywhere in the whole of Ekiti Southwest and even in the whole of Ekiti State.
I only hope that this kind of system can be sustained, this situation. It has been the best that I personally have witnessed. It's just like the election of June 12, 1993, which was very peaceful.
See, I'm a very young politician, and I was really very impressed with the situations of the less cash because there was no vote buying. I checked around, and there was more or less no vote buying, and it's something that will encourage a lot of young people to also engage in politics, because that has been one of the major factor that has been affecting young people in politics.
I am impressed that our people are coming out, to vote. I'm also happy that this election is even holding at all, because lately, in the last couple of weeks, we had been through a situation where, based on certain policies of the Central Bank of Nigeria, there could have been too much tension. The whole country could have been engulfed in crisis in such a way that this election would not have been able to hold today. But we're happy the election is holding.
So far so good. There are pockets of complaint. And
okay, welcome back. Those were sights and sounds from across the country, from Ekiti to Ogun State and so on, as we continue to bring you updates following yesterday's presidential and National Assembly elections. Straight away, we'll take you to Anambra State, where Dr. Mrs. Queen Elizabeth Agu, INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner for Anambra State, is standing by to speak to us. Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Yes, can you give us a general, view of the elections in Anambra State as it happened yesterday?
Elections yesterday in Anambra State was very peaceful. There were no killings. The material was fully deployed. Observers, including myself and some other people, observed and saw that people turned out. That is what gave me so much joy. People had low feelings about the election before I came. And yesterday proved to me that my campaigns of people turning out en masse to vote was very resultful. I really thank Anambra people. They trooped out and exercised their private franchise. Of course, I told us that our vote will count. The result will soon begin to trickle in, and we will see that our vote counts.
In some of these results, getting to the collation centers in parts of Anambra?
The results are already being collected at the collation centers. You know that these things are human activities. And especially now that you know that we have some insecurity here and there, the security personnel ensure that the terrain is safe before the movement. As for collation has seriously advanced, and they are almost returning to the collation hall where the activity will be finalized. At present, we are about 85% completion.
Dr. Mrs. Agu, and there were logistic problems across the country. Can you share with us some of the challenges your staff and ad hoc staff faced in the course of the elections yesterday, including the performance of beavers?
In Anambra State, we are blessed. Our beavers did not give much problem. The only thing is that people did not understand what beavers stands for. Our beavers is deployed one PILU unit, and there is a reserve in case there is a breakdown. But the thing is that if you think that beavers is a magic wand, people will come in and want the beavers to capture 1,500, 300 people at a go. But the beavers was very smooth. In all the places we deployed the beavers, I didn't have a history or story or report of a broken down beavers. That is a very big thanks to God. Yes, we talk of logistics challenge. Challenge, like I always tell you, is part of life. But the truth is that in Anambra State, because of the pockets of insecurity, we agreed in our INSES, the Inter-Security Agency meetings we had lately before the elections, that the security agency will go to places. One, we are not going to operate in the night. That is number one, for security reasons. Two, the security agencies will move out. Army, police, civil defense, road safety, they will move out, check the terrain before they carry the men and the women to the election areas. And that's why we secured the success we had yesterday. There was no attack of killing anybody because the security agencies did exactly what we agreed based on the terrain of Anambra.
If you look at the performance of INEC in Anambra, how would you score your organization of the elections in Anambra yesterday in terms of the coordination and the general conduct of the elections?
I am not good at scoring myself, but you know, as a queen, people score me. A golden fish has no hiding place. The governors some governors were complaining, but you saw that our presidential candidate, the presidential candidate that comes from Anambra, went to his home country as early as possible, the polling unit, and voted. He said it was seamless. What does that tell us? It means that our performance was top-notch. People were telling me that our performance is 90%, others said 85%. For you, you know, for me, you know, 80%, 85%, 90% is A. So our performance is A.
That would be,
for instance,
and I'm sure maybe some other observers in Anambra may have some other areas why they weren't satisfied with how elections were conducted there. But generally speaking, how do you respond to this issue of seizure of beavers machines in some parts of the country, and also the issue of thuggery and snatching of ballot boxes?
When you are dealing with human beings, definitely the little hitches must be there. We are dealing with human beings. Characters differ. They snatch beavers, you know. For instance, people that have not known what is beavers. So some people may want to get a hold of beavers to do some experimental researches to see how they can hack the beavers. You know, it has not been possible for them to hack the beavers. But the gospel truth is that the beavers is good, and those who try to carry the beavers, they were apprehended and it was recovered. Even the ones that were not recovered in some parts of the country, they will definitely be recovered. When you are dealing with human beings, do not rule out possibilities of little hitches here and there. Some small boys and girls who took one small thing or the other. But generally, to my own understanding, beavers behaved well. I also seriously condemn the activities of snatching ballot boxes. It's a level of mentality. That's why people advocate for going to school. Become educated. You understand. What are you doing with ballot box? The ballot box, you are not doing anything with it. The only thing you do is to disrupt the election temporarily. But your candidate cannot benefit anything from the ballot box. You are just destroying what we have suffered to put in place. And it's not the best. I would ask the people, some parts of the country, people did not campaign. Like in Anambra, people did not campaign. I was telling them, campaign. Talk to your people. Tell them what you will do for them. Tell them, showcase what you have done. If you don't campaign, how will you now want to excel very well? This is a game. Politics is a game. When you want to join politics, learn the rudiments and the rules of the game. You will be well. The rule of the game in politics, number one rule of the game, is not sharing money. It's not vote buying. Come down to the people. Be close to the people. Let the people love you. Let the people know you. When they troop out, they will vote for you. You'll be happy. But if you want the people to only see you and touch your money and touch your goodie on an election period, it doesn't work like that. Politics does not, it doesn't work, it doesn't go well in that. People will know that this person, so this person can allow people touch her. But if you're down to earth with the people, you can see some areas that people are really at home with their populace, with the people that will vote for you. Let my people, the Nigerians, learn to do things for people. The youth are always there with us. Take care of them, give them scholarship, give them money to buy, to empower themselves, help them. They will love you. When people love you, you don't coerce them to vote for you. You don't love is voluntary, and when people love, they give. If you make people to love you, you first of all make people to love you by loving, and you can't love without giving. Giving is love. You love the people you give, and when it is time for them to give you their vote, my dear, they will give you their vote without any qualms. But if you want to coerce people with knife, with money and anything, it doesn't work. So let us learn the rudiments of politics. Campaign, touching the lives of the people, is the rudiment.
Dr. Agu, just before I let you go, one of the critical aspects of this election is the uploading of results from the polling units. And some of the complaints we've heard is that since yesterday it's been a bit difficult for these results to be uploaded to the central server. Are you having the same problem in Anambra State?
Definitely, there were some pockets of that kind of a problem. But you know, it's like network was down generally in all the nation. Like for those, since that Thursday, me, I have not been able to transfer money, even official one. People have been finding it difficult to make calls, to transfer money, to do network transactions. But one thing we know is that BVAS, once you upload, it is offline, online activity. When you upload with a little patience, it will go. But in Nigeria, you know, we are not patient. We are not patient. We want it. We punch it now. We want it and let it go automatic. That's why. Otherwise, we shouldn't complain. If it's in developed world, people will relax and wait. Even if it is next day, it will upload. But here, we don't even believe ourselves. When I punch the thing I told you I have sent it, you say it's a lie. I want to see it now. That's one of our problems. We are still graduating. BVAS is a new technology in our country. Let us help BVAS by having patience with it. Let it come of age. BVAS is not a magic one that you say today you deploy it, it comes up 100%. But to my understanding and my own observation, we are very sure that BVAS perform above board. That is the gospel truth. BVAS perform above board. Maybe next time when INEC, because we are learning.
How will the calculation be completed in Anambra State?
You know, in Anambra State, we didn't have much issue. The areas, very few areas, we didn't have an election. The law says we will fill the collation officers will fill from EC40G. The form EC40G will determine whether the result so far gotten will, whether the areas that voting didn't take place will drastically affect the byproduct, the outputs of the election. If it will drastically affect it, then we do election. But if it is minimal, we won't do election. For instance, in Ihiala, the areas where we didn't vote in Ihiala is a war endemic area. People ran away. People deserted the place. If you do election 200 times in that area, definitely you get the same result. So we may not bother ourselves going to do election there. And also in Obaru, there are two communities are having challenges, and they don't see themselves. Those areas, that particular area, there is no election. If we know that the outcome of the election, when repeated, will improve the outcome of the performance of the candidates, election will be done. But if it is minimal, election will not be done. So for me, we have filled a form. It will be determined to see whether the outcome is minimal or it requires election. So I can't tell you today, tomorrow. We will see the outcome first.
All right. So we hope to ask you, follow up with you on that issue in terms of the areas where elections were not held yesterday. Thank you very much, Dr. Elizabeth Queen Agu, for your contribution to Election Watch today. We'll get to speak to you much later. That was the resident electoral
You are welcome,
commissioner
my brother.
for Anambra State, Dr. Mrs. Queen Elizabeth Agu, speaking to us from Anambra State. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more updates for you. Stay with us. It's Election Watch on Galaxy TV.
6 ZLP 76. We have centers in the council. 4 polling units.
It's our pleasure to present the result from Remonos. Thank you.
So it's a privilege to invite
all protocols to be observed. I am Dr. Registration periods. Yes, other documents. Iperi 1, Iperi 2, Iperi 3, Ogere 1, Edition 1, Edition 2, and then Edition stroke 1, 4, 6, 7, 9, 1, 4, 2, 0, 1, 2, 6. AAC 18. AAC 18. ADP 4, 5. EGA 1, 9.
And yet I couldn't vote, and I was told to go and come back. For that, they would have rectified the liver, so I'm highly disappointed.
Well, I'm not too impressed yet, but I expect that I'm able to come out. But it needs to be larger than this. I've always voted here. But I know that people are going to come out more. It's too early in the day now. Since they know to come and vote and go, so everybody will come out. And their own confidence, come in, vote and go, since they don't have to queue, get accredited, and come back to vote. So I don't think it's an unusual day. We have always voted. This one comes as a routine. We vote every 4 years. Vote for governor every 4 years, president every 4 years. It's not unusual. This is more or less like routine. We have come for another ritual, 4-year ritual. I think all of us will enjoy it.
Bimodal voting and accreditation system is one innovation that everybody's applauding, and it took few seconds for me to be identified, and I think if it continues that way, it is one development that has come to stay, and I believe that we should continue with it and move beyond BVAS. The end of it will be electronic voting and electronic transfer of votes.
So I mean, look at the regional dimension. Some regions are better in the south, for instance, southeast was just about 6%, south 11%, in the northwest, northeast above 30%. So that's it about voting. But the vote continues. We are really concerned about people not being disenfranchised. Even as at this afternoon, Delta, there are still 2 locations that don't have INEC presence yet. And if you look at different places, even the FCT, as at 8:30, 9 a.m., in some polling stations, people are still expecting INEC officials. So we hope that they will allow time for people to vote, going by the guideline. So as at 2:30, there are a whole lot of people still there, so they will allow them to finish voting irrespective of the time.
Thank you very much. 50% of INEC poll officials arrive on time for the commencement of the process.
Into the studios, joining me is Dr. Dele Shetelu, political scientist and public affairs analyst, joining us on this segment of Election Watch. Dr. Shetelu.
Good afternoon, Nigerians.
Right. You've had some of the feedback from some of our correspondents, and also the INEC resident electoral commissioner in Anambra, about the challenges and the performance of BVAS in Anambra. As well as you, we also followed the press conference by the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakub, while declaring open the collation center in Abuja. I'd like your, just touch on a few of these issues for us.
Yes, I'll begin with the press conference of the INEC chair. I had far more expectations about the press conference than he delivered. In my view, the press conference was hastily done, and it provided very little information about the election.
That's the one from yesterday.
Today.
Okay.
Today, I mean, the INEC chair noted that that the venue they were was a collation center, or would be collation center, National Collation Center, which was declared formally, and that the state collation officers would converge and so on and so forth. I thought I thought the idea of the press conference, was to address every other issue, particularly difficulties and challenges that occurred based on the election.
Maybe that will happen later.
The INEC chair was quiet about it. If you follow the media through the night, civil society organizations and different interest groups were worried that INEC was quiet through the night, despite challenges. There's a voter education department with a director and so on and so forth. The INEC chair may not necessarily provide information, to special interests and the international community at every point in time. He may be overburdened doing that, but the director, should be doing that. You recall that before the elections, we've been at this for quite a while, and since a year, INEC had promised, free, fair, credible election, and as recent as a few days ago, less than a week, INEC insisted it was ready. It was ready, in every sense. But it does appear that INEC wasn't ready for this election. There have been issues, and those issues have not been addressed.
Right. Let me ask you to pause for a bit, and let's quickly go to Ibadan, where our correspondent Kunle Ojo is standing by at the INEC headquarters, monitoring the collation there. Good afternoon, Kunle.
Good afternoon.
Yes, what's the situation at the INEC headquarters as we speak?
Thank you very much for having me at this time. I can inform you that this the collation of results of the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission here in Ibadan started around 12 noon today, and we have on ground the representatives of various security chiefs in Oyo State and agents of the political parties on ground, other stakeholders, electoral monitoring team and others, including journalists on ground. And as of now, 14 results from 14 local governments in the states have been taken, and out of the 14, 12 have been certified okay by the returning officer, who is the acting vice chancellor of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. The results from two local governments were rejected based on inconsistency in the number of accredited voters in the two local governments, and the team has mandated the officers in charge to go and fine-tune and check their figures and come and return again to present the results from the two local governments that were rejected. But as at now, out of the 33 local governments we have in Oyo State, where election was held yesterday, the results from 12 local governments have been taken so far. And as at now, the collation has been put on hold and to resume by 4 p.m. today.
We'll get back to you shortly after this break, so that you can give us more updates from your end in Ibadan. Thank you for that update. Okay, we'll take a quick break. We have to take a commercial very shortly as we continue monitoring events across the country.